So how do you do what you do? How do you know how you do what you do? Do your executives in your organization understand how you do what you do? Do they even understand the concept of automation, CI/CD, DevOps, all these sort of words? And so what's the actual problem we need to solve? Is it a DevOps problem or is it a little bit wider? And if you look on the left, this is digitization, this new word about turning everything digital. I can't wait to figure out how I'm going to eat digital food. But if you look on the right, this is what it sort of looks like, and I can't point, but the graphic on the right, the top left says, let's release, we've finished our 2-week sprint. And then 3 months later it goes to production. Even though you've got the tools, the technology, the techniques, and even at Toyota Connected when I was there, we were releasing on demand continuously every day, rolling back, doing all those cool things we could do when we wanted to do them because the people were empowered because the teams owned the end-to-end governance. We didn't have all these people, we used to call them in England jobsworths. It's more, you put a hat on, it's more than my job's worth to let you do that. So we eliminated the jobsworths. So there's something I've been teaching leaders, and this comes straight out the Lean playbook since we were talking about Lean on stage earlier. Go and observe, not just see, this fancy Japanese phrase called Genchi Genbutsu, which just really means go to the source with no assumptions to understand the facts and to take the next actions, and not to do sightseeing, which is what most executives in companies do, which is called Genchi Kenbutsu. See, the namings are really, really, really close. So this is a friend of mine. His name's Ritsuo Shingo. His father was the inventor of some key techniques in the Toyota production system. Hopefully my audio will be working and on the computer. So I was at a conference in Santorini, and one of the people in the conference from Italy asked him, Shingo-san, what tools do we have? Let's think about Jira version 1, or it's called digital AI now, or all these other tools that you may use. Which tools do you have to help me understand the problem more effectively at the Gemba? And this was his reply.
Don't ask for any tool. No tool.
I mean, I don't know if that's prophetic wisdom or not. So we want to get back to this work as imagined versus work as done. Most people who don't do what you do have this perception of how we get work done. What we actually want to do is learn how work really happens. So I did something reasonably special in the last few weeks. For the last 6 weeks, I've been working for a factory who's one of the largest food producers in the US. If you buy corn from your local grocery stores, frozen corn and some other frozen produce, it probably came from this plant. And at some point in the future, maybe some of you will be eating corn that my hands have touched. So, I know it's a terrifying thought. So I went and watched. I took 41 gigabytes, because I measured it the other day, of video of these people working to try and figure out what was wrong with the process. And then I said, I want to go on the line. I want to go and do the work. And I spent 8 hours on it. I did a whole shift. I'll show you. It was the worst 8 hours of my entire life to date. I prayed for death. I truly prayed for death multiple. I wanted to faint or pass out so they'd carry me out of there. But I learned more in 8 hours by doing the work than I would have learned in weeks of watching other people do the work. I didn't realize how much variation there was. And remember, this is what most companies do at the pointy end, yeah? If you go to Toyota, they build cars, they build machines. You guys build some amazing software that goes in these products. Even in this plant, they've got ERP systems, MRP systems, a whole bunch of systems that you guys, or people like you, are building and creating. But you really need to understand the real problem before you actually start to try and solve things. So it's called learning to see the unseen. If you can't see it, you can't fix it. So I then, a couple of weeks later, and this was literally last week, and I've redacted it on purpose because I don't want to reveal the person's identity, but I took the president of the company who'd inherited the company from his father and had I think his father or grandfather, and had never worked on the line. And I said, you really need to understand what the real problem is. So I put him on the line. And the guy behind the blue box is the guy on the line. Immediately after we'd shown them, put them on the line, he made immediate changes. Immediate changes. Both talking about how they were going to invest, and I actually got everybody an extra 5-minute break, because taking off that protective equipment, going for a break and then coming back and putting it on again was actually eating 5 or 6 minutes of their break. So immediately extended all the break times by 5 minutes.